Yo, what is good? My anime faithful. What is good, yo? So let's talk about the fairy gone. I was really waiting for Attack on Titan to show up, but after seeing such bad, whatchamacallit, such bad, subs last week, I'm honestly not surprised that it's taking so long to get anything as of right now because it was rough. Like instead of saying father, they were calling people uncle and stuff. Like it was rough, man. So to know that we're going to hopefully be getting some better subtitles here, it would be most lovely. Um, but with all that being said, I will definitely try to get Attack on Titan out to you guys sooner than later if it actually gets some good subs and stuff. But Faragon this week, I feel like this show continues to do things that either have very good elements of like an overall like narrative perspective, like they have really good things going for them, but it just comes off sometimes really lackluster, I feel like. But with that being said, this episode was sick just because of how they're playing with the human characters. The studio, I feel like, is listening to the fans, or at least like checking out some types of videos, because there's no way that they haven't like heard some of our complaints about that. Because think about it. What happens this week that they could have literally used all throughout the episode was there was like zero fairies used, you know? The one fairy we really got used, I mean, there was a lot of CGI, don't get me wrong, but the one fairy that was actually used was the one by the bad guy who is charging the Heavenly Gate. So to think that that's the only time we got a fairy in that type of animation was kind of interesting. Compared to like what the show started out as with just fairies like straight up going against each other 24/7. So to change that and make it into, like now the fairies kind of just show up during certain occasions, I can live with that. But at the same time, it's if it's in the manga, if it's in the source material that the fairies are fighting each other, then let them fight. Like keep it authentic. But yeah. With all that being said, though, it's clear to me that whatever is happening in this week's episode should at least like give us a good narrative of where the show's going to be going as a whole, because not only is this like episode 11, we're like really into this like battle. Like seeing all this pop off is clear to me that there's something way bigger at work here than we can probably tell as of right now. So I'm pretty interested to see how they allow all this to actually play out at the end of the day. But at the same time, no one's really giving me a reason to, like drop the show just because of like certain aspects or something in the show. I mean, the storytelling's fine. The thing that's, rough is that the whole animation thing, but, everybody knows that part. And then when you have episodes like this where you kind of don't know where it's going to end, and then they kind of just ended wherever they want, um, there's still some good stuff that comes from it, because now next week it should just pop off with straight action nonstop. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Not to mention the fact that this had probably one of the sickest soundtracks they've ever shown in this anime. Not to mention the guy who is the bad guy, who's marching, literally just walking straight down a straight line to the people's place just to like tear them up, is literally whistling the song that is playing, and it's the coolest thing I've seen in a while. And I didn't even expect it to be that cool. Like it was just sick in my opinion, and to see it like to see it like that was really live. Like you could tell, They put a crap ton of effort into that moment of him kind of getting down the whistling to a pack, to a key, or if it wasn't even the person who we were watching whistling, they might have hired someone that actually could whistle this song very well. But man, it gave me goosebumps. Yeah, like I never thought I would want something like that until it brought me all the way back to Cowboy Bebop, and just remembering Spike whistling really gave me I feel like more of my goosebumps feeling than anything, because these are the times of anime and times of shows and times of anything that can reference backwards to things that I like grew up on. It blows my mind, because that just goes to show you there's more people out there that grew up on all this stuff the same as me, like this, like not the same time, but maybe they grew up on it different times or earlier than me and I came into it later. Regardless of the case, we all have the same feeling towards certain animes and certain moments in said anime. And my moment would be Spike about to leave out and he's whistling this beautiful, beautiful song. And I learned from the author and the person who actually was whistling it, he just came up with it and it couldn't sound like anything that's too mainstream. And they didn't want him to just make up anything out off the top of the rip. So he kind of just put a little bit of something he knew and a little bit of something new together, and it was that. But this week it was literally the song that was being sang in the background, the literal background music was being whistled by one of the characters inside the show. So I don't know. Like if someone like Hisoka did that in Hunter x Hunter, I would lose it all. You know what I mean? And to see this show doing it and bringing me all the way back and remembering um, great memories like Cowboy Bebop was very unexpected this week, and not to mention the action was some of my favorite the show's ever shown this week. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing night, day, evening, whatever the case may be. We are getting into definitely a weird part of this show, because not only are we like understanding just what's on the line for every team, but somehow, some way, we already kind of know who is, like the bad guy of all this. We already know like where all this stuff could really lead with how much power is actually out there. I mean, we got people using the fairy weapons that completely destroy fairies if you have the right techniques and stuff. We also saw two new fairy weapons being used in this week's episode. One being a weapon that reminded me of Ivy's, which I was thinking about playing Soul Calibur just to use Ivy and her sword, just to like have a visual explainer as well as when I was talking about it. But I didn't really think you guys needed it. I mean, it was the most hypest moment in the show, so if you forgot that part, then yeah, you might have forgot everything. But yeah, overall, it was really good. I mean, this show has very great storytelling, so I wasn't like even worried about that. So to think that the storytelling stayed up on par with what I believe the show should be able to do was very, very dope in my opinion. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I'm about to start this mission over because I need an S rank. Ah, I killed her. I'm stupid. Alright, everybody. Have a good one, and peace.